upcoming high school football season. And I'll tell you what, there's plenty of talented players to go around. So I'm going to put together a little piece on guys to watch this coming football season.
Well, there should be plenty, judging by everybody that's coming back and the new kids that are coming in for every area team. But, yeah, it's hard to believe we're about ready to get that going. I'm not ready.
No.
I'm not ready. I'll just tell you that right now.
Football, just because, I think we talked about it last week on our show. This summer is a little different because you have the Olympics in a few weeks, but other than baseball, there's not a whole lot going on,
No, not necessarily. I mean, there's not a lot going on, but
it's sort of all in the sports schedule, I guess.
if you're a Cubs fan right now, you got to be sitting there going,
What's going on?
what the hell's going on in this team?
I had them left for dead a week ago, and I think a lot of people did, and they just go to Baltimore, one of the best teams in Major League Baseball, and
Sweep them.
the O's. And
Sweep them.
you talk about incredible pitching, which they've gotten great starting pitching, as we've talked about all season long on our show. But my gosh, they were lights out in Baltimore. You give up 2 earned runs in a 3-game series and outscore them 21-2.
That's the potential of this ball
It
club.
wasn't even close.
That's the potential of this ball club. I don't care what anybody says. And I think one of the reasons why we find ourselves in a winning streak is because if you notice the different approaches to the plate,
You're exactly right. Situational hitting.
there's a confidence.
Yep.
It's like, okay, we may be done making a mountain out of a molehill now with everything that we do, from offense to defense. So let's just, you be you. You get up there and hit the baseball. Keep it simple. And Greg Counsell has finally understood the fact of pitchers going deep now. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, knowing him and at least his past as a coach, he does not like what he's doing right now. But he's got no choice. Not if you're going to keep into the playoff run, which, by the way, the Cubs, because everybody else is kind of stinking right now,
Just 3.5.
they're just 3.5 out of a wild card spot.
Yeah.
How does that, I mean, a week ago, we were saying, time to trade.
Unload.
Get rid of Suzuki. Well, Seiya's starting to hit the ball. I'm glad they're proving me wrong. Don't kid yourself.
I mean, I have egg on my face.
Now can they sustain this for the next couple of months?
I guess let's hold all of our excitement. They've got a huge 4-game series in St. Louis.
Starting tonight,
Starts
yes.
tonight before the All-Star break.
And they're
And I'm
playing.
a little concerned with the pitching matchups. You have Hendricks going, they have a doubleheader tomorrow, and Cardinals get the beneficiary of not facing Imanaga and Steele. So if you could somehow go to St. Louis and take 3 out of 4,
Yeah,
then I think
that should be your
you really
goal.
got something.
That should be your goal.
Yeah.
But right now, it looks like this is a team that's playing confident and hitting the ball with confidence that it may bail us out.
And in fairness, Tony, and you'll agree with this, they did have a slew of injuries. Steele, of course, went down on opening day, but they also had a slew of injuries in their bullpen. They've had injuries with position players. And then it seemed like all of their bats went south at the same time, which is really unusual. And when this team was constructed, I don't think anybody envisioned. You always go through slumps during the course of 162 games, but it just seemed like the last 2 months up until, the last week, everyone had been slumping at the same time. And what do they say, about baseball? Hitting's contagious. And I think you've seen it.
And we're seeing it, yeah.
And the Cubs have reeled off 5 of their last 6 games, have resulted in wins. They've won 4 in a row, first time since April. They've done that. And again, no surprise. I mean, their starting pitching staff is as good as at least I can ever remember the Cubs having in my lifetime. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything more for the first half of the season. the starters. Their ERAs are, I mean, they're almost video game worthy, and the quality starts you're getting from that outfit. And I have to admit, I was looking at stats this morning, and I was not aware the Cubs bullpen since June 1st has posted a 3.17 ERA, and that's the 6th best in baseball. I guess you don't look.
Yeah, but how much of that number right there has been shorted by the length of our starters?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Our starters, when Council started saying, you know what, we got to let our guys fly. The amount of work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a total different. It's a total different. What I want to say. Mindset for a reliever, knowing the fact that all they got to come in is work for one inning, as opposed to having to come in the 5th inning,
Right.
and try to give about 3 innings, and then we're using up another 2 possible relievers to finish a game. It's a complete different mindset when you can go in, concentrate on 1 inning, and get 3 outs. You know, and if you got that exceptional middle relief pitcher that can give you 6 outs, you know, then you can give it to your top reliever and him take care of the rest.
And of course, it doesn't matter if you have an 8-0 lead and, you know, a 10-2 lead and things like that, then the pressure's completely off
Right.
your bullpen. And that's what happens when the bats start coming around. And you mentioned it.
Ding, 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 ding.
And again, we talked about it a lot during our show this season. You know, the question mark, third base, catcher, first base. But I'll tell you what, Michael Busch, you look at his statistics against other rookies, he's right there in the National League running for Rookie of the Year. I mean, he's first in home runs. I mean, he's had a great, really good stretch. And, you know, I have to right now at least tip my cap to the Cubs brass, because what they saw in Busch, maybe he is the long-term answer at first.
I don't like giving up on the kid, because he's went from a power stroke approach to spraying the ball, and it's not like it's going to just happen like that where he stays consistent, put the ball different places, and still hit for power. By the way, I think what he's learned, at least the way it looks to me, is that he's learning the selective pitches to be aggressive on, go for the home run, in other words, and pitches to where just take it where it's pitched and put it in play. He looks like that is what he's done. And again, what's he done? He's just simplified his approach, simplified his focus. I really think that, you know, that he's got a lot of potential. I'm waiting here, and this is I'm giving him a year here to see how well he can be consistent in the big leagues. You know, what's that batting average going to end up being at the end of the year?
Staffs will adjust to him.
Right.
And try to pick on his weaknesses.
But if he can stay selective, it's going to be tough to kind of gauge where you can pitch him.
Right.
You know, and so I like Busch. I'm willing to give this kid a full year to figure out if he belongs to begin with. Right now, he looks like he belongs. And
he's the top 5 in every category amongst rookies. I mean, 278 batting average, 46 runs scored. That's first among rookies. Like I said, his home run total 12, first, fourth in RBI, 36.
He reminds me right now, swinging the bat, as Ian Happ is.
Yeah.
Only Ian's a little more mature in his selection.
Yeah.
You know, Busch every once in a while gets a little jumpy and goes after a pitch he needs to let go. But as far as approaches go, man, I think Busch right now, especially Busch, he's starting to show what he can do. But the question is, can he do it for a full season? You know, and you hope the Cubs are going to be able to make the playoffs. But, you know, this may be the year where we kind of make sure we're solidifying everything for next year and what the skill set's going to be for next year. So I don't know. I like the fact we're winning. The pitching, and you mentioned it, the pitching's just been outstanding. And that's what it takes to win in the big leagues. Great pitching. You got to have better defense. I don't know how many errors in that Orioles series do we have. I thought I had it last night, but I just don't remember. I don't think it was a lot at all. Maybe one or two or something of that scenario. You know, I'm trying to look feverish.
Last two games, they didn't have an error.
Yeah.
They had no errors in the whole series.
You win ball games when you do that.
That's mistake-free baseball.
You win ball games when you do this.
Especially if you give up 2 runs and your starting pitching gives up 2 runs in a 3-game series. You're not going to lose very much doing that.
You're right. I mean, you're not going to win. I mean, I don't know. I guess is the shoe-in for the All-Star.
He's in the shoe.
Yeah, he's a shoe-in. Yep. Anybody else from the Cubs?
I think he's the only member.
It's too bad. I think we got a couple that deserve at least a little consideration, but, you know.
Justin Steele's record's not good, but his ERA is spectacular.
Amazing.
He just had no runs
Right.
all year long.
And
go ahead.
defensive errors right and left, almost in the beginning of a month and a half for 2 months. For Steve,
Right.
Talon.
Should have been made.
Yeah. So, like I said, if the Cubs can continue this pace and this on out, they're going to get it. They're going to get a chance at least to make the
Not to mention
postseason.
blown saves.
Oh, Jesus,
Goes into the
20 plus this year?
starters record, and you're looking at.
But again, what did we see? What did we see? We saw the starters
Yeah.
who were pitching well, keeping us within the run, or we had a run lead. Council took them out. Now
Right.
we're not doing that, you know. And like I
So,
said,
let me ask you, I know 3 games probably don't change a front office's mindset, but, you know, we talked about them last week being sellers. Is it
This is
still
the final.
a
This
good
is
tournament?
this is the final push. I think within the next 2 weeks, they're gonna evaluate to see where this team is gonna be at. And if they continue to stay on their winning ways, playing errorless ball games, getting pitchers into the 7th inning, you can live with some of the middle relief that we've got. If only you're letting them pitch 2 innings, 1 or 2 innings, not 2 or 3, not 3 or 4. You know, so the starting pitching is really the key here, I feel. If they can keep the pace that they're doing right now, and the offense can at least match or continue to be above what the opponents are getting, we will get in. Now, that sounds very elementary, and you're right. But this game of baseball, if anything, is not elementary. It is tough to go in, game out, day in, day out, to try to stay consistent, especially when you're not facing the same pitcher over and over and over. So, you know, I'm of the opinion we have the potential to be that kind of team that continues to improve.
Keep in mind, the Cubs had a very difficult schedule to start the season. August is this isn't from the Cubs brass, this is from Major League Baseball pundits. August is their friendliest month schedule-wise.
That scares me, though.
In terms of
From a mental approach, that scares me.
Yeah, they have a lot of teams sub 500 that they will be facing in the month of August. So
Well,
you would hope if that starting pitching continues, I don't know if it could keep up that pace, Tony, that they did the first half, but just say it's somewhat similar. They've got to have a strong August. And
They have to.
you're exactly
No, they have
right. And by then, the trade deadline's over, so that's why this weekend series is so doggone important. I mean, is there a magic number from the wild card standpoint?
You know, I'm not good with that.
More than 5 games, is that unrealistic?
They got to stay within. They got to stay within where they're at right now.
Right, that's what I think.
They're 9 games out of the division, and I don't. And here's the thing. You look at Milwaukee's schedule. You look at St. Louis's schedule.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh's getting, you know, even though they're struggling offensively, they're getting good pitching. That Skinnis guy, Skeens.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
I was going to bring him up during our show. And I know he had 99 pitches. He had pitched 7 innings of no-hit baseball. And they don't send him out for the 8th or the 9th.
Because of the amount of pitches.
I mean, are you okay with that? That just drives me insane. And I know that's the way the game is managed and played now.
See, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I struggle to challenge it because normally when you're on that pace and you've thrown now 100 pitches, you should be throwing 100 pitches going into the 9th, not 2 innings before. And sooner or later, he's going to make a mistake pitch to the wrong hitter. It's inevitable. It's baseball. And so, you know, you got to roll the dice. He got you that far. He's got nothing to hang his head about. Yeah, he wants to be out there. But, you know, listen, the game's to be won.
And my thing is, he only had 1 walk and 11 strikeouts at that time, so the Brewers weren't even coming close.
Yeah.
And
but they're the
Brewers'
Brewers.
ability to have a special moment for your franchise, and for that player specifically.
I get it. No, I get what you're saying.
No hitters gone.
Well, I think they are, but just how pitching staffs are getting handled. You want your starting pitcher to give you at least 6 innings, not 7, 6, because it's now baseball and pitching itself has grooved in middle relief pitchers as part of the equation to finish a ball game. It's almost like for some reason we made it a mandatory thing without telling anybody it's mandatory you do that.
Can you imagine Bob Gibson?
Oh, geez. Any pitcher from 1995 down, they would literally probably drop kick you in the you know what if you're coming to pull them.
Yeah. And I know it's changed. I sound like an old geezer, but I just, you know, that guy is so dumb. You watch him,
He
it's
is.
just phenomenal.
And I understand your situational point there. You know, yeah, as a coach, you got to make a decision. You know, sooner or later, on 99 pitches in the 7th inning, after 7 innings, you know, you're one back pitch from either getting an inning started. Because the other part about this that we're not talking about, it's the Milwaukee Brewers.
Right. It's not like
The Brewers
are
are right.
Yeah.
You know, they right now have been shut down by Stennis, but you know, they're still the best hitting team that's in the division for starters.
Right.
And so, you know, you got to weigh some options here. And the other part about it is if you're a head coach, you got to believe your middle relief can come in and get you 3 outs. You got to have that belief. And it's almost to what Consul has had to face, because Consul as a head coach has been groomed 6 innings and then 2 relievers and a closer to finish. Or if you got that exceptional middle setup guy, he gives you 2 innings and then the closer. So I mean, I'm of the opinion, you know, it's a tough call to try to get him out there one more time. And there's no sense asking him if he's okay.
Everyone's going to say, sure.
Oh, heck yeah. I want to, give me those 3 more innings, yeah. He's going to lie right to your face.
He's one batter away from a perfect game. If it's a perfect game, does he pull him? Same thing, right? 99 pitches.
Well, it depends how he's looked in that inning. I mean, has the pitch count stretched? Or has he been getting them on 1 and 2 counts, or 0 and 2 counts, or 2-2 counts? Has he been getting that 3rd strike when he needs it?
That's going to elevate your...
But has he been getting that 3rd strike when he's needed it to keep the pitch count down?
Yeah.
You know, so there's a lot of things you got to look at in that particular scenario. You hope your pitching coach is the other one that you're kind of relying on how he's looking, and you know what he's been consistent at, what hasn't he? You know, does he look like he's going to be able to locate up and in or low and in when he's got a 2-strike count to the same batter he's now facing a third time. Had 3 looks at you. This is a third look at you.
Yep.
You know, normally those odds aren't in a pitcher's favor. So there's so many things that go into that kind of decision other than, why are you taking him out? He's got a no-hitter. Well, he's at
Again, like you said 10, 15 years ago, it's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer.
He's back out.
And pitchers where I work, well, go to YouTube and watch any program about pitching. I don't care what it is. Pitchers today, compared to then, are apples and oranges. Starters back then, when they could go 8 innings, even 9 at times, that's how they were groomed. That was the mental, they already knew mentally that they needed to go 8 innings. Not 6, not 5, I got to go 8
It's
innings.
almost like a thoroughbred horse that they stretch it for long.
But it starts in spring training.
Right, they condition them like that.
The mentality starts at spring training. You know, and then, because then you develop that, I don't even want to talk to you until it's the 8th inning. That's the mentality. Now it's not there. I'm sure there's some pitchers who would like to, who could probably do it if they were let go more. And I think we're going to see more of our success because we're letting them go. But these guys, the Steels, the Imanagas, they expect to go 7, 8 innings. And when they don't, that's why you see talent. That's why you see Imanaga get emotional.
Yeah.
Because they failed because they didn't get to the 7th inning or to the 8th inning.
Just thinking when the playoffs.
But those are special kind of pitchers these days.
Playoffs come, you're seeing almost like managers manage almost like it's an all-star game. You know, you'll see guy go 3 innings, 4 innings, boom, and then you put in again one of your another lights out pitchers because again there's usually no tomorrow or you want to put yourself in a position where.
But even the playoffs is still different from regular season.
Right.
You can either use it as a focal point to get to 7 innings, or you're not able to. See, this is where the coach, pitching coach, the other assistant coaches that are helping out with the pitching staff needs to keep track every game they pitch to see what they're doing. Are they going the distance? Are they hanging that curveball by the time they face that third batter? Is the location starting to struggle a little bit? Are they throwing 3-ball counts now? There's so many things that you got to pay attention.
I can see because when he played in Japan, they didn't have as long a season, so the Cubs have been very judicious about how they use him. They've given him extra days rest because again, you don't know how his arm is going to react to that long of a season. So I get it, the pitch count and how much you use. Say,
but wait till next year when Imanaga gets a full year under his belt.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to see his attitude then. I don't want to come out.
No.
You ain't going to take me out. And that's what you want. You want that bulldog mentality. You know, and for you Plymouth listeners who followed baseball over the years, when Bill Nixon was coaching, he had so many great kids. And when they went to the state, they had bulldog pitchers. Matt Arvison, John Pettibone. They had the Rorings. And, you know, those guys, they would literally get in your face. You know, and Tony Plotho will be the first to tell you, he was afraid to take out Matt Orison. You know, that is innate. It's tough to teach that.
You bring that
You
up,
either have it or you don't
just
have
like
it.
John Lester was.
Yeah. Guys, there's every guy that deserved to get pounded.
Yeah.
It's him. But he pitched the correct pitch in the right count. Yeah, he struggled.
And he was that bulldog.
But that was that mentality.
Yeah.
And then that becomes contagious in the locker room.
Arietta, too, is another one.
Yeah, exactly. You know, doesn't mean they're going to struggle because both did. But
You didn't want to leave them out.
you don't. Yeah, That's sacred ground to them, you know, and that's the kind of mentality you want out of your pitchers. You want that. You know, I'm going to go 7 innings, 8 innings, come hell or high water. Don't come talking to me. Don't tell me to settle down, breathe hard. I got it. I know what I need to do. Let me finish it.
Yeah,
And then we'll talk afterwards.
We've been saying it all along that if the Cubs got any kind of hitting with the way their pitching is going, they could go on a streak. So maybe this
And
is
we
the
do.
start.
We got a hitting team.
I mean,
We do. We just got to, Morel's just got to figure out how to be more selective. And I think the other part for him, too, he's got to cut down his swing a little bit. Sometimes it's too Javi Baez violent. And that's why he misses, because he's moving before the ball even reaches to him, because he wants to swing so hard. There's a lot of mechanics that go into a baseball swing. And sometimes you just got to dumb it down.
I'll tell you what, and again, you have a great analogy there with Baez, sort of all or nothing with Morel. It was an all on the one swing I remember from that Baltimore series. Yeah, he connected, and he connected.
Exactly right.
When dead center, it just, you've been to enough games at every level, but especially Major League, you go to batting practice, and there are just some players that get in the cage, the ball comes off their bat. It explodes.
Mm-hmm.
And Morel's one of those type. Hey, but now you got to make contact, of course, and that's what the Cubs are fighting with. But it is amazing when you're there and watching it. You almost can pick it up now on TV with the high definition stuff that you can tell right when they hit it, it's going to be gone.
Yeah.
And Morel can hit some bombs.
But see, here's the thing, you know, and a lot of that is because their swing allots them to hit the bombs. You can hit the ball equally hard, like a home run, but make it a line drive.
Yeah. Ryan Sandberg was
he was great at it. Yeah, he was great at it. But, you know, when you think of hard contact, there's a lot to it. If you are a contact hitter, not a power, but sometimes you get some power in there. But when you got the mentality of a contact hitter, you won't have to worry about outside pitches. You'll take it where it is pitched. Power hitter? No. 9 times out of 10, you're going to pop up. Or you're going to hit off the end of the bat and still miss a home run. Because it's a different mindset, and the swing is different. You always talk about launch angles and stuff like that. There's some validity to that. You know, but it starts with a mentality of just hitting the ball square.
What I love is what's come the last few years, exit velocity of the baseball. Can you imagine if you had that with Sosa, McGuire?
Would you imagine when Dave Kingman hit his home runs, what kind of exit velocity?
Glenn Allen Hill.
In fact, on YouTube, there's a home run hitting contest between Dave Kingman and Mike Schmidt.
Really?
Yeah. Schmidt won. Mike Schmidt won. And exactly, you know, he had a violent swing, but it was a controlled swing.
Compact.
Yeah. I mean, go back and watch how he hit the baseball.
Yeah.
You can learn a lot.
Boy, was he a Cub killer.
Oh, man.
Those Cub fans couldn't stand him. He was a terrific ball player.
He really was. Hall of Famer, obviously. So, I mean, you know, I think, you know, when you break down little things, I'm now, when I'm watching the games, I'm breaking down things. I'm just, you know, and the other part, and you hear, how many times you hear me say this all year on the show? Hit the right pitch. Get in the batting count where you dictate what the pitcher's going to throw you next. That way you can lock down on that pitch and do something with it. You know, don't go up there swinging to protect, because that's a much different swing and a much different result. You know, and I'm starting to see our hitters getting to better hitting counts, where they've dictated now that the pitcher's going to have to throw a fastball, or he's going to have to throw his cutter, and if he's going to throw that cutter, he's got to be extremely accurate with it, otherwise he hangs it. So right away, you should be setting fastball and reacting cutter. It's gonna come at you almost an identical velocity. It's just that cutter has got to be a quick sharp with rotation, and you will tell the difference if you know it's a roller.
Oh yeah.
And that allows you time to adjust to hit it then. You know, I mean, there's so many integral parts. And, when I was growing up and I was playing in college and stuff, and I went to Ron Kittle camp as a youngster, those little things mean everything that you got to pay attention to. You know, a lot of people, Kitty struck out an awful lot when he was playing for the Sox. But his home runs.
Speaking of all that,
Yeah, but his home runs were on key pitch counts.
mammoth shots.
And a lot of them go back and watch highlights of his at-bats. He had 3 balls because he was patient and he didn't go fishing after pitches because the pitchers were afraid to groove it or get anywhere near the middle part of the plate because they knew Kitty was going to tag it. So that's what I'm talking about. It's just each hitter has different approaches, and if you're a power hitter, you need to do this, but you have to be aware of the fact that, if you're down to 2 strikes, guess what? You got to be a contact hitter. All right, 12:34, that's our time, and it's warming up out there, 81 degrees, and this is Sports Talk on Sports to the Max. Back with more in a moment. Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Max, sportstothemax.net. We're also live on our Facebook page, Max 98.3 Facebook page right now for Talk, and of course our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is Max 98.3 stream.com. It's Max 98.3 stream.com. Later tonight, Max 98.3 is going to be at the Mayor's Month of Music, and I'm going to be at TGIF in Argus. That's right. They're having their Friday night event, and we'll be there live for an hour to just enjoy the wonderful folks down in Argus. There'll be all kinds of food trucks for this event as well. All right, Dougie, let's move into the next thing.
How about we got to talk NFL, believe it or not, and this is really in the believe it or not category. 1 week from today, the Bears veterans report for training camp, and on Tuesday, the Bears rookies report for training camp, and of course that means number 1 draft pick Caleb Williams, the quarterback, will be there, and number 9 pick Odunze, the fine wide receiver out of Washington. And I think it's fair to say this is one of the most anticipated Bears seasons in a long, long time. And of course Hard Knocks is going to start, the HBO documentary is going to start filming training camp, and that'll air in early August. So a lot of eyes will be on the monsters of the Midway starting next week if they're not already.
Here's my concern. I'm not going to buy into all this Caleb Williams going to be our hero, savior thing. I'm just not going to do that. I want to know what he's doing now. I want to know what he's been doing. Okay, here's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for commitment.
Oh, he's, from everything you read, he's ultra committed.
I sure hope so. I pray to God he is.
He's all in, and the teammates. And again, I know they haven't taken the snap and haven't, run a play. Again, almost every single rookie struggles their rookie season in the NFL, especially at that position.
And if that's the case, that's why I'm not.
Right.
I'm not going to get all bent out of shape if we start the season 0-5.
But the Bears have surrounded him I mean,
Without question.
Their wide receiving core
Yes.
is one of the best. I'm not saying it's the best, but it's pretty solid. I'll say it, it's the best the Bears have ever had. You know, I don't think there's any doubt about that. And remember, this is a defense. Everyone talks offense now. It's hard to believe the Chicago Bears are talking offense. But this is a defense that had the #1 run defense in the NFL. So there are a lot of good pieces defensively, too. So, you know, I'm looking for, and again, you're not going to see this until we start playing games. And for the Bears, it's not until September the 8th. But, you know, how open is the playbook with him? Remember Justin Fields, they said, oh, we're going to be open, and they played it pretty close to the vest, or as much as they could. He didn't have a whole lot of protection. And I guess for my liking, that he didn't get to ad-lib as much and run maybe as much as I would have liked. He didn't have the weapons that Williams will have. But, you know, what's the playbook look like under Caleb Williams? And is it your typical winning type NFL offense? And by that, I mean, you know, pretty much wide open. Because let's face it, the Bears, decade after decade, have been, you know, run pretty much to set up the pass. Well, now the game has changed, and it's, you know, the aerial attack.
Here's the only thing that I fear a little bit, especially with the opponents of the Bears' schedule, is that they got a lot of our opponents got good DBs. Collectively, I don't know. I still feel the run game is going to be probably the most significant part of the success of this offense, because running sets up passing. And I don't necessarily like that because, you know, if we're not getting first downs that are above 10 yards, second and fives make it a little tougher to run the football because you're expected to run the football. You know, so I don't know. I don't know what Eberflus is doing or what he's going to do with this kind of group. But if we avoid the run, and I shouldn't say avoid, but if we're not consistent with our run game, we can have all the superstars in the world for Caleb Williams to throw at. But you become one-dimensional, and teams are going to show why you're not going to win.
Well, remember, too, last year, Fields was their leading rusher, and that's not going to get it done. I mean, your quarterback's your leading rusher, especially, and I say that, not that, you know, they need Williams to make some hay with his feet, no doubt about it, but not with this receiving core. And, oh, by the way, it's not just the receivers. I mean, Cole Kmet is a pretty solid tight end, too.
I think, though, he's going to struggle getting time in unless they are dedicated to finally getting him the ball. And that's going to be a shame because Kmet's a really good player, and he's a very physical player. We know he can block, you know, and I think the Bears are –
He was second last year in receiving touchdowns with 6, behind, of course, DJ Moore. And again, I go back to all, you know, get excited about quarterbacks, and of course, being a Bears fan, you know, other than Jay Cutler, I guess, and way back Jim McMahon, there haven't been any quarterbacks really to get excited about. I mean, I know Miller led us to division title, and kid out of Bloomington led us, Grossman led us to the Super Bowl, but it was really that defense.
It's the defense that won.
Led us to the Super Bowl. But, yeah, I'm just, like I said, rookie quarterbacks struggle. You look at Peyton Manning. He threw a ton of interceptions his rookie year. Now, again, I think any Bears fans or any NFL fans tell you, I don't care how good your quarterback is, it's going to be how good the guys up front are protecting. And we saw that. You know, I didn't think Fields had any chance, you know, a lot of time. I mean, I remember the game against the Browns, he was massacred, like sacked 9 times.
Well, see, this is where I think a lot of last year with Fields is he wanted to run. But he didn't have time to get the first step out because he was already people in his grill, you know. And so, you know, if this offensive line is supposed to be as good as everybody says that they are, that's going to be something Williams will need to take advantage of. You know, and if if opponents' defenses are going to try to take away the receivers, Williams is going to have to figure out a way to do this. If passing plays continue to get disrupted, Williams is going to have to figure out how to run when the pocket closes.
They'll throw a lot of different looks at him.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Because of course they're not.
So I'm not as excited, but I'm hopeful. And the other part about this is that we haven't talked about, or no one's talking about, we got to stay healthy. If we're going to be able to accomplish what everybody thinks we can accomplish, we got players that need to stay on the field.
That's always the goal in the NFL, the teams that win.
Because I'm not hearing anything about the twos.
Yeah.
Anywhere. Offense or defense.
You don't win in the NFL with your twos, that's for sure.
No. It's tough to.
You can't expect to.
But this season might be predicated on health. And if the players can stay on the field. So, I don't know. I'm not going to drink the Kool-Aid per se. I may take a sip, but I really, really, really hope they got a good, strong game plan to balance the offense. And listen, you just paid for a very expensive running back to come over. You got to use him. Your saving grace in that deal was the fact that he's strong enough to be a good blocker. So, I don't know. It seems that we got the right personnel finally, but I'm just worried about how Eberflus is going to coach and what he's going to do with that talent. And the other part for me is that offensive line. They got to give Williams time to make decisions. I mean, and if he's not able to throw the ball as much, well, guess who are going to be the first ones complaining?
Yeah.
Receivers.
And by the way, the running back Tony's referring to is DeAndre Swift
Yeah.
from the Philadelphia Eagles, who played his college ball at Georgia.
Yeah, he's a good back. He's a real good back. Can he stay healthy?
Yep.
So, I don't know. I like I said, I like the Bears, what they got personnel-wise. I'm just anxious to see how it's going to get coached. 12:45, back with more of the Sports Talk on Sports Talk on the Max after this.
Well, we could do the Olympics or Caitlin Clark or
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Max. Tony Ross, Doug Griffith, great to be with you. And also live on our YouTube channel, Max 98.3 stream, ! Where you can catch that on our YouTube channel on Max 98.3. All right, Diggy, what's our next thing we want to jump into?
Well, it's interesting, the WNBA season, I think, is, I don't know if it's halfway over yet, but the Indiana Fever, I think it's fair to say we had left dead, that they weren't going to have much of a season, but lo and behold, they're in the 7th playoff position. Now, 8 or 12 teams make it to WNBA. and their record's not exactly stellar by any stretch, 9-14. But they have played some better basketball. And I'll tell you what, one of the storylines to follow, in addition to the huge uptick in attendance and interest in their game, has been the race for Rookie of the Year. Angel Reese playing for the Chicago Sky, and of course Caitlin Clark for Indiana. It's definitely a two-person race, but Angel Reese is like a double-double machine. It's a double-double every time she steps on the court. And Caitlin Clark's setting more and more records, averaging about 17 points a game. I mean, she's just...
First triple-double player.
Yeah, first triple-double player. So it'll be interesting how that race for Rookie of the Year unfolds and whether Caitlin Clark can lead Indiana, who of course had the worst record last year. That's why they got Caitlin Clark in the draft. She can lead them to the playoffs.
You know what I'm anxious for? And this might ruffle some feathers, but I don't care. If Caitlin Clark gets picked, the words are going to come out of Reese's
You don't have to
mouth.
say it. Yeah. I know exactly what you're going to say.
Even if Reese wins,
Yeah.
what's going to come out of her mouth?
Yeah.
Everybody's putting her on a pedestal.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I couldn't disagree with her antics,
Right.
her overconfidence, and I'm thinking I'm being very, very kind with that term. You know, there's sometimes there's more to just. Reese is great. She's a great basketball player. But there's more to being a professional basketball player.
A great professional.
You got exactly, be humble.
Right. Let your play.
Let your play do all your talking. Don't worry about, everybody's getting more attention than you. The only way you get more attention to them is if you just shut up and play.
I mean, remember Michael Jordan back in the day? I know he talked a good game on the court, and rightfully so. But when he did interviews, he wasn't, again, for the most part, he let his game do its talk. Larry Bird, just start mentioning them. Magic Johnson, all the greats were like that.
Well, they would tell you that they're going to beat you.
Yeah. But
That's different than what was coming out of Angela's mouth, and that's too bad.
They were very complimentary.
Because that makes it sound like that's what it's supposed to be like as a professional, and it's not. Far from it. Caitlin Clark, things she does, it's out of confidence. But when you go name a press conference so far that she hasn't mentioned her team and doing things this way and that way.
If you're Angel Reese, why can't you just compliment her?
Well, it's how she says it.
Right.
There's always an underlining theme behind it, and I struggle to put her on a pedestal as a role model, and I've seen Reese do autographs. That's worthy of her play because of her play.
And we wondered going in, Tony, we talked about it on this show, the jealousy factor and how the established pros, well, of course, Reese was also an incoming rookie, but how the WNBA would accept Caitlin Clark and all the focus immediately going to her.
Caitlin knew, and she said it in press conferences several times, if you paid attention. She knew this was not going to be easy for her.
And
she made it very clear.
I don't know if a professional athlete has ever had to endure the kind of treatment within their league immediately like Caitlin Clark has.
So when they decide who's Rookie of the Year, are they going to pick a player who has been absolutely amazing in getting double-doubles, which is her only two things she does, or are they going to go with Caitlin Clark, who rebounds, usually leads the assist column every game for the Fever? She gets her fair share of rebounds. You know,
Unbelievable range.
and shoots from anywhere.
I've never seen before.
She, and by the way, she does drive for layups.
And she's
tries to score inside.
Once in a generation player.
So I don't know. To me, that's what the rookie of the year is, because you know they're going to continue putting up numbers, both of them.
There will be so
When that decision comes out, you wait, you watch.
Yep.
And unfortunately, that makes me sad because the WNBA has struggled getting any kind of notoriety.
Because you're taking away from the game.
That's all you're doing, and you know, show a little grace, show a little humility.
Maybe we co-rookies.
But you know, here I am. I'm watching Connecticut, who is coached by our Purdue Stephanie White. What a tremendous lady she was. Back when I was going to Purdue, I got to interview her on television. Couldn't be as humble as anybody. But she was a bulldog. She was a competitor.
You talk about a bulldog competitor.
Did she talk? You darn right she talked. But the feedback she got after talking just fueled her. You know, but when the game was done, shake hands, hug. Signed autographs. And I don't see one bit of any condescending lookaways or anything negative on that team toward each other. Nothing. And they're the best team in the WNBA right now.
Mirror image of their head coach.
Exactly right.
You know, they reflect.
Exactly right. And they got.
I go back to, you know, she was above everything when she was in college because her head coach let her get away. You remember this this time last year, she started that fall semester. And there, at Christmas break, there was a lot of speculation whether she was off the team, on the team. She wasn't going to class, and hadn't been going to class for weeks. Angel Reese, I'm talking about. And again, when you set the precedent and let her get away with pretty much anything and everything, and we always say it's never about one player. And whether you're a superstar or you're the last person on the bench, the rules have to be the same for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Some programs abide by that, others don't. And I'm just saying LSU put Reese on a pedestal, and that has continued in the WNBA. Apparently there's nobody that wants to confront her, talk to her. You'd think that, I'm sure the PR people aren't in a position to, you know, say something. But again, it comes from the coach, it comes from the GM, it comes from the owner. That we expect you to carry yourself in a certain way. You're a professional athlete, and this is the way we do it when you're with the Chicago.
But what I mean, you know, but then again, you sit here and think, well, what guidance does she have?
Right.
All she's got to rely on, all the basketball people that she relies on, she watches on the NBA. And what do they do?
Yeah.
What do they do?
Yeah.
The same nonsense. I would love to get back and enjoy NBA. I really would. You know, I'll tell you what I do. I go on YouTube and I watch. There's sections on YouTube that, you know, sections of just nothing but Johnson versus Bird, Jordan versus the Detroit Pistons. You know what I'm saying? And each and every time there is an element of, there wasn't even, you can't even say it was a moment where effort was never involved. Now, character clashes, yes. Because, but they never thought and never would dare talk about, I'm the greatest, or even say that. You know? You had those NBA stars like Jordan. Well, listen, he was the greatest because his play showed it. And he backed it up. It's almost like he took it as a challenge. I'm going to show you. I'm the best damn basketball player in this court. That made it fun to watch. That made it fun to watch it be the case where he had a target on his back every game.
You mentioning that makes me think of, there's a great documentary with the Olympics coming up about the Dream Team.
Right.
And how competitive those practices were. And Michael Jordan, Pippen, all these guys were just, and how they got after it in practice. You talk about ultimate competitors. That Dream Team, it's a great watch. So I'd encourage everyone to watch that. And you can see why the Michael Jordans of the world were as great as they were. And same with Pippen, and same with, everybody that played on that team. They were just, if it was practice, you would have thought it was Game 7 of the World Championship.
That's right. But that mentality's gone, and it shows on the court, whether they want to admit it or not. So, hey, we got to get out of here. Thank you for tuning in to Sports Talk on the Max. We'll do it again next Friday at lunchtime. So until then, have yourself a wonderful weekend. We're back at it tonight with our remote from Thank God It's Friday event in Argus. And then we're also going to be at the Mayor's Month of Music. We're giving away South Bend Cubs tickets tonight at the Mayor's Month of Music. And Patricia will be there to give them away. And those will at least an opportunity for you to win. You got to sign up and put your name in the register box in order to do so. For Doug Griffith, I'm Tony Ross. We'll talk to you all tonight.
Hi there.
Hi. I'm here to pick up the tickets that Tracy Slifer won. Patricia said that I could come in and get them for her. Aunt Tracy. She's my aunt.
Okay.
We drop them off at their house.
Yeah, she's done for the day because she's got to work tonight.
Oh, okay. I think we did the free.
No. She got to do it. There you go. Thank you. Last night, YouTube's got these NBA fights, or so, past fights. Awesome. Yeah, they just go after each other. They don't care who you are. Fucking Bill Lambier. What a cocksucker he was. But you know what? Probably one of the smartest son of a bitches. Yeah, he was. He got in your head, man. Rodman was the same way, you know. Yep. A little bigger. Perfectly. You talking about me? Yep. I'm living rent free in your head. Hendricks will probably get rocked tonight. You know, you break out of last time. He's only good when he can locate. Yeah. He's only good when he can locate. And he's a little bit under good when he can surprise pitch. Meaning, in a certain count, he's always had a trend of throwing his breaking ball. He needs to do opposite of that to be successful, because he's always been readable. And his fastball is just. But if he locates, he's okay. Yeah. He'll get that long fly ball out. and the classic. So, the one thing you know when he's on is the amount of times you see a hitter out on his front foot enough to be ahead of it. That means he's off balance. Now they just sit on his changeup, you know, and like you said, if he doesn't locate that, then it's a meatball. Like batting practice. Then he's just starting to throw his curveball a little more. He may be hungry. Where are you going tonight, Tony? August. What's in August again? TGIF. Event. They just have that once though, right? It's not once a month. Yeah. I heard you talking about the fire department. I was gonna text you to say, is Andy Stone cooking? God help us. They always have good scripts down there, though. Or a feast, as Lindsay calls it.